Hey readers, welcome to The Club,
the unfiltered book club podcast where we discuss all things fantasy, romance, pop culture, and our favorite topic, ourselves. We're your hosts, Ashlyn Clark
and Katie Hoyt. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to The Club. I am one of your hosts, Katie Hoyt, and I'm here with my bestie, my girl, Ash. How's it going?
It's going good. Just recovering from the best weekend of all time. Katie and I went to Nashville to see Taylor Swift, and I still feel like I'm recovering in a lot of ways, but truly the best experience of all time. Luckily for us,
we were the best day of my life.
Yeah, we were not the rain night where she was like postponed and sang until 2 a.m., which I think would have been a really cool and unique experience. But the type of person that I am, I was really happy to be in bed by 12:30, and it was flawless. Like the execution of the concert, we got home at a good time. It was the best day. And then Jake and I ended up staying in Nashville till Wednesday, so I'm just now kind of getting back in the group of being home. But you know what? It was worth it.
It was truly like the best day of my life. It was perfect. And you know what I actually was thinking about? She like had a couple hiccups during the concert. Remember?
Yeah. She like her earphone things kept going out. And then like one of her dresses wasn't on correctly, which like who cares? She was changing in 30
right.
So like
in the dark,
she was like in a new outfit was stunning to me. So
yeah. And then when she was playing, so our surprise songs were Out of the Woods and 15. Oh my god,
couldn't have asked for more.
During Out of the Woods, she like messed up playing, like she sang the same part two times and was like, oops, we're just gonna do it again. And
yeah, and I don't know if you've been,
it was so good.
Katie and I like did not look at any of the Taylor Swift TikTok stuff beforehand because we didn't want to know what song she was singing. But I had already seen, like before I decided that, a couple of times where she had messed up the surprise songs because I don't think that she decides them until like the day of. So she doesn't have like a ton of time to prepare. And so she said like that's her new rule is if she messes up the songs that she'll do it again during the tour. But I could not have asked for more. I really wanted those two bridges, so I'll take it.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. And like 15,
and Abigail was like, there, y'all. Abigail was in the stands.
It was so good. Like 15 was not even on my radar, so when she said it, it was like, it's just kind of like when you hear an old song again after a really long time and you're like, oh my god, this is such a banger. But like for that to be the surprise song and she sang it just like on the piano, it was so
I love that the surprise
songs
good. Are both acoustic versions. Like it makes it so different. But I thought it was, maybe it wasn't you. It was either Sierra or Sela that had said that they thought it was going to be 15 because since Taylor's like from Nashville, they were like, she's probably going to do debut stuff. And someone had like leaked that Abigail was coming. I can't remember. But they had said it in the car on the way home from brunch. And I was like, no way. We're not going to get 15. Like, I feel like that's like an iconic song. And I also love Out of the Woods. Like, I'm a huge, I love I Know Places, Out of the Woods, and a couple others from 1989. It's not my favorite album overall, but I still like a lot of the songs on there. I was lit. My sister was like, oh, I do not like Out of the Woods. I was like, babes, tell somebody else. I don't care. I'm living.
Hush.
Like, take the negative energy. Yeah. I swear.
It was so good. 1989 is probably my least favorite album. The way I was shaking my ass to the 1989 songs, like when I look back on this and like it was really expensive, like it was just like absolute chaos. We had to like spend money on the Airbnb. I would do it again and spend double the amount that I did.
Like, especially for our seats because we sat in the like 100s, like right above the floor. So we were close, but we could still see the whole stage. Like I feel like if I wasn't able to see the screens on the stage or the backup dancers really well, like we could, I think I would have
Yeah.
missed out, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
loved
No,
it.
I totally agree. I have looked up tickets in other cities just thinking like, oh, this
Oh,
will be cute.
maybe.
Like
Yeah.
I'll just fly to another city. I don't
No.
know.
No, and
I'm not going to
the
pay.
scary part is like the only way to get an affordable ticket is to wait until the night of, and then you're not even guaranteed one. But I have a friend who was like getting floor seats. She got a floor seat the rainy, so night 3 of Nashville, and I want to say she paid like 800 for it, 7 or 8, which is, I mean, they're on sale online for 4 grand. So,
Literally.
I'll pay that
Wow.
for a floor seat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I do feel bad for the people who had to wait in the rain. Like it got over so late and they were absolutely soaking wet. But like to see Taylor, like I would have paid double the amount that I did to see Taylor in the soaking, pouring rain
At 1 a.m.
until
Yep.
2 a.m.
Yep. Same. It was that freaking
So,
good.
yeah, I have absolutely not one regret. But anyway, so I think we want to try to do like a May wrap up
Yes.
episode and hopefully we can talk more
Yep.
about it. And we didn't do an April wrap up episode either.
We've been kind of
we
slacking.
have
I don't know if you guys have noticed on the Instagram, like we have been slacking at our jobs, but it's because we have normal lives. And
Yeah.
sometimes podcasting just isn't in the front of your brain. But I really want to do a May episode just because we've had so much going on this month in particular. And I
Yeah.
graduate next weekend. I broke my ankle. Like I have tons to catch you guys up on. And
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Katie will have a
And
lot by then too.
yeah, and like you were here for a weekend, like we got to spend an entire weekend together and just hang out. So yeah, I feel like we'll have a lot to kind of get caught up on. But anyway, so what have you been reading lately? Have you had any good reads?
Okay, so I've been reading this month's book, obviously, and what else did I finish? Oh, I read this murder mystery kind of book called How I'll Kill You. It was about these triplets who are murder people. I don't know. It was so good. Loved it. It was really thin. I think it was like 300 pages or something, so it was like super easy. And then I also read what's it called? Six Scorched
Six.
Roses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that speech impediment. Anyway,
Yeah.
the prequel, I guess, or kind of to the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is like one of her little novellas.
Yep.
That was so freaking good.
So good.
Looking at my
So good.
bookshelf, I think that's pretty much all I've done. I tried to read this. I know y'all are like on TikTok very into dark romance, and I commend you because I tried to read this one called Hooked, and I got way too scared, and I gave up after maybe 3 or 4 chapters. It was terrifying, and so
Oh my gosh.
I'm just not cut out. I think I'm too big of a weenie for like dark romance. So anyway,
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it on TikTok and stuff, but I was way too creeped out.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so add it to my list of did not finish this year.
Dang. Well, maybe later you'll be in a different headspace and maybe like around Halloween or something. I don't know.
Maybe okay, Halloween maybe. We'll see. We'll see. What about you? What have you? I know you've been reading some things.
Yeah, so I also read Six Scorched Roses, which by the way, I do mispronounce it quite literally every single time I try
It's
to
a tough
say it.
one.
It's so hard. But it was it was so good, like just the perfect little like it's like having like
Loved.
a piece of chocolate after dinner. Like it does everything that you need it to.
Yeah.
And then I also read What Lies Beyond the Veil 1, 2, and 3. And I'm upset because the fourth installment, I don't know how many there are going to be, is not out yet. And I think like doesn't come out for a little
Ooh.
while. Yeah.
This is actually
until October.
like, except for this book series, this is the first time you've had to really wait on a book.
Yeah, I know. So that really sucks. And I actually try to avoid that as much as possible, but I've had a couple people recommend this to
I've seen it a
me,
lot
and
too
so
on
I just
Instagram
thought,
and stuff.
yeah. So I read it, and it was definitely not like a memorable series, but like it was fun. I would recommend it as just like a general
Okay.
read, but it's big cliffhangers like at the end of every single book. So like the third book was no different. It was big cliffhanger, and now I'll just have to wait until October. But other than that, that is actually all that I have read since the last podcast, which is kind of like only reading 5 books between podcasts.
That's big for you. Like that.
Yeah, like
You're kind of on your normal girl shit these days. Like you're not just devouring.
yeah.
Oh, I also got
Yeah.
over halfway
So
done with Game of Thrones. It's finally picking up. The only thing is, like, I read it before bed and it's a lullaby. Like, I will get not even one chapter in and I'm passed out. So it's taken me a long time. And then yesterday I started this book that was recommended by a lot of people, but it's not like fantasy romance or anything. It's called The House in the Cerulean Sea. And
yes.
everyone, I posted it and I got so many responses. And then when I was checking out at Barnes and Noble, even the checkout guy was like, this is the best book I've ever read before. And everything that this author has written has like brought me to tears. So we'll see. It seems really sweet so far. So I'm excited about that.
Okay, yeah, you'll have to let us know how that is. I too have heard really good reviews for that. I also forgot to say, once I finished this book that we're talking about today, I did start on the next novella in this world, which is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. And I'm like not that far into it. I think I'm only like maybe 150 pages or so in. And yeah, 134 pages. And I'm going to be completely honest, it's not my favorite book ever yet.
You said this about the last 3 books that we've read. The first 100 or so pages, Katie, if she is not like sucked the fuck in, she's complaining. Okay? She said that about this book that we're talking about today. She said it about the last one that we did last month. I'm not worried. I think it will get better.
Oh, it will get better because it's Carissa Broadbent.
Right.
Like she
literally not fumbled one book.
No, ma'am. Not even one time. So, speaking of Carissa Broadbent, she is the author of this book. We have already done a little author biography on her when we did the first book. So, if you care, go back and listen. What we pretty much said is she lives in Rhode Island. She's self-published, which just, again, I would like to emphasize how incredible that is.
Like, it is that she's self-published. Like, what the fuck?
She's so good. One thing that I will add, she is pregnant and she has like pretty much said we're not getting anything for a while, and rightfully so. Like,
yeah, I mean, she's pumped out 4 back-to-back pretty much.
Exactly.
Because even her novellas are what, like 300? So they're not like little books. And they're amazing. And so I will allow it for now. Yeah. I'm going to want more soon.
Oh, yeah. So. She like straight up said like nothing again until 2024. And it's like, I don't even think she's like started writing for the next.
But I can't blame her because she seemed, since we follow her on Instagram, I keep up with her a little bit, but like she seemed stressed about these deadlines for the last 3 books. So just giving her a minute to breathe and like be pregnant.
To breathe. Totally. She completely deserves it. So, all right.
So we can just dive in. You want me to read the overview for this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the overview for this book, as you guys know, it's the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, but it's the last one in the House of Night novels. So the overview says, love is a sacrifice at the altar of power. In the wake of the Kajari, everything Aurea once thought to be true has been destroyed. A prisoner in her own kingdom, grieving the only family she ever had and reeling from a gutting betrayal, she no longer even knows the truth of her own blood. She's left only with one certainty. She cannot trust anyone, least of all Rain. The House of Night, too, is surrounded by enemies. Rain's own nobles are none too eager to accept a turned king, especially one who was once a slave. And the House of Blood digs their claws into the kingdom, threatening to tear it apart from the inside. When Rain offers Aureya a secret alliance, taking the deal is her only chance at reclaiming her kingdom and gaining her vengeance against the lover who betrayed her. But to do so, she'll need to harness a devastating ancient power intertwined with her father's greatest secrets. But with enemies closing in on all sides, nothing is as it seems. As she unravels her past and faces her future, Aureya finds herself forced to choose between the bloody reality of seizing power and the devastating love that could be her downfall.
Ooh,
Yo, we never read these until it's time for the episode, so we're always shocked at what they say.
We usually complain about these like summaries spoiling. This one was really good though. Like if I didn't know what happened in this book, I wouldn't be able to figure it out based off of this summary. So
it's good enough at like telling
good.
you like kind of what's expected, but not like, you know, the nitty gritty, which is really important. So
yes.
I do love that she splits it up into like different little parts of the book. And I know last time we kind of delved into those and like what all happened, but that took so fucking long. We're deciding that we're skipping that from here on out and just going to see if it helps cut our episodes a little bit shorter. And also like we're doing this podcast under the pretense that you guys have read the book. So there's not really a reason to go so in depth, and we go into depth with the characters anyways. So please let us know feedback wise if this is something that you dislike, but we're hoping it will keep y'all on here for less time.
Yes, exactly. And like by the time you talk about all the characters, we feel like we've covered the entire book and everything that happens anyway.
Yeah,
so
like there's not much left to say.
Yep, absolutely. So we're just gonna jump right into our character lineup. So first up, we have Miss Aureya. So what was your take?
Okay, Aureya, female main character, black-haired queen. I loved her in the first book. And I remember saying at the end of the last book, like I was excited for them to have like turmoil in their relationship because I love enemies to lovers. But what happened is that I liked her less. And it was like a total accident. Like I was rooting for her, and then I remember typing when I was taking notes during it. I was like, damn, she like really hates him. And like not only does she hate him, she's like willing to take the other side of the war, which I get. It's like her birthright to take over like the Hiyaj part of the war, but she's like plotting against her husband at this point. And I know she doesn't want to be married, and that's fine. But it's almost like she just forgot everything else. She like can't look past the killing of Vincent, regardless of how good it is for the future of the kingdom. And that stressed me out.
I totally agree. And like, it is understandable for her to like, she's carrying a lot of weight. Like her dad just died. She finds out like her whole past is pretty much a lie, and like Rain turned on her, and now like there's this war and her people are suffering. There's like so much that she's going through. But I felt like in the first book she was like such a badass and like so hardcore. And it's not that I disliked her in this book at all, but it's just we kind of saw a different version of Aureya, and I liked the previous version.
Me too.
Better.
And then I felt like in this book they kept bringing up the point of like she's sort of afraid of emotion or expressing emotion. And I really didn't get that from her in the first book. It seemed like she was guarded because she's a human and never really been exposed to vampires and stuff outside of Vincent. But like it felt really weird to me whenever like she's put her life on the line 3 times to save Rain and like doesn't think that she loves him or even likes him.
Babe, like that, I literally wrote down pretty much exactly that. So after it's like the cave sex scene where they're like in the hot spring, and she still will not like profess her feelings to him after she quite literally in front of everyone just said like, we're gonna rule this kingdom side by side. What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's too late to like everybody know, like you're the only one who hasn't accepted this.
And then at one point she's like, Rain says that he loves her or something. And she's like, is that what I feel? Like, actually, I think it is what I feel. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Like, you got to get a grip. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
You do.
You can't like have sex with him and then agree to be like his ally and then rescue him and then have sex with him again and say you're going to rule the kingdom with him. Like, shut up. You love him, and like nobody, it's not even a question at this point.
And no one's fucking judging you
just
for
say
it. No one's judging you for
right,
it.
Like,
you're the queen. You can do whatever you want.
Literally. So that was bothering me. Okay, and then there is something that I gotta swallow my pride a little bit. In the last episode, I said that I hoped that she had the feather wings. Like, I thought that Rain was gonna like turn her so she would be fully vampire. I take it back, because I actually thought it was like really beautiful that she's the Hiaj and he's the Rishon, and it's kind of like the joining of the two different parties.
Yeah,
and
it's
now,
very symbolic.
Like, I really liked it. I love the fact that she has wings. Like, thank God. But the question about her lifespan has not been answered, and it's just going to weigh on me. Like, I will lose sleep over.
Well, so for the Coriolis bond to work, she has to live as long as Rain lives. So now they are bonded for as long as his lifespan will allow.
Okay, I actually wrote that down to talk about that when we talk about Acacia, because I thought that in the first book, when it was talking about how that's what she was going to do with Vincent, that it said that it was going to maybe not make her immortal,
like
but
immortal.
like it tied their lives together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was also my question. So I think the reason why we thought that at first is because in our minds, like, he was still going to be turning her into a real vampire or whatever. And then when she got these powers from Nyaxia because of being whatever, the heir, like, that kind of changed everything. I don't think that she would have been able to harness her wings if she didn't, because I mean, she had power, but I don't think it was anything like this.
Totally. So that kind of takes us right into the next character, which is Vincent. And look, the man is terrible. Like,
Bad.
He literally like ruined her entire upbringing because he's selfish, and he like, it was for his own like self-preservation. He did not tell her anything about her past. Like, he stifled her, and what doesn't even make sense is he wanted her to use her powers, but he wouldn't tell her about anything. I don't know, like, it's not adding up. The man is terrible. Like, even at the end when she's like, you like killed my mother, and he's like, I didn't kill her, and she's like, shut up. Like, yes you did.
Yeah,
you literally did.
She was like, yeah, you killed them, you knew that they were in that village, and he's like, I didn't mean to. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Oh my God, like,
if you meant to. You sent an army to the town that you knew she was living in to level it. Like, you knew that was a possibility. Yes. What did you think? I hated that. I hated him like being so present. Like, I would have been okay with him being at the end, like whenever she was going through all of those trials at the tomb, to like learn about him. Like, I would have been okay with that. But truthfully, I hate this man. I like, whenever we were learning about like what he did at Lahore to like all of his family members whenever they were like 5 and 8 years old, and he was murdering all of them just so that he could be the heir and all this stuff. And it's like, well, you were already going to be the heir over your cousins because you were the king's son, or the, you know. So like, you were already going to be the heir. Why can't you just wait around, let them get a little older, see who challenges you, and then kill them then? Why are you killing 5-year-olds?
Oh,
And then he
it
left
was
Lahore with like
awful. It was
nobody
like,
there. It's like a ghost town.
it's like almost like paranoid to like he's like mentally unwell, which I
Yeah.
know that in their kind of culture that's how it is. Like it's just really cutthroat, but he was like over the top so like you said
Yeah.
this child is 5. What are they going to do? And
Right.
another thing that I I'm just like having a hard time understanding is I'm not talking about when she like touches his items and she like literally is experiencing his memories like as if she's him, but when she quote unquote hears him talking to her, is it just like what she thinks like, oh, this is what Vincent would probably say at this point in time, or is he
Oh,
somehow there? Like I couldn't figure it out at the end. She when he like is there and she's like, you're not real, whatever, he's like, I'm always there, like blah blah blah. It seems like he is aware of all the times that he's spoken to her through her brain.
it is very confusing. And it harps back to the beginning of the last book where I was like thinking it was like SJM style, like mind speak, whatever. And
Yeah.
in reality, it was like just it was supposed to be just her thinking of like his responses in her head, how he would say them. But a lot of times
Yeah.
it just didn't feel like it would be something in her mind. So I was very,
Yeah.
very confused by that as well. Especially at the end, whenever he's like actually there, kind of.
Yeah.
Because some of the shit he was saying was kind of rude to her. Like one time she like thought, oh, I'm embarrassed. And then he was like, oh, you're embarrassed of me? Like that's how you treat me after all these years? And I'm like, if your dad can be that mean to you in your head, you're not
Ugh.
okay.
No. And I really enjoyed getting to see this other side of Vincent where it was like he loved her mom and like he loved her and kind of like things leading up to like her birth and when she was a child or whatever. I really enjoyed getting to see that, but like it doesn't outweigh like his love for her and
No,
him
that's
saving
exactly
her
how I
doesn't
feel.
outweigh.
Yeah. And that's like, I don't know how granted, I don't have like a ton of like personal experience with like grief or whatever, but like, so it seems like to her, she can just like mute out all of the bad shit that he's done and genuinely just miss him being there for her. But then like you think
Yeah.
back to all the times like where he was there in the first book and he like kind of treated her like shit. And I feel like she's just like kind of gaslit herself into thinking that like he's the only person who ever loved her. So I think, and we'll talk about this in a little bit later, but like getting to meet her other parts of her family like really probably helped put that into perspective, that like he's not the only
Yes.
person who ever loved her. He's not the only person who loves her now. And like there are other better support systems for you that are alive and didn't like torture
Yeah,
entire
literally.
kingdoms.
Like he really, oh, it's so hard. Like he literally was almost like her abuser. Like he
Yeah.
just did so much damage to her and like because he's pretty much he's a pussy. Like he just couldn't deal with the fact that potentially somebody might challenge him one day.
Yeah.
Like
And
he
it
just
obviously
was
became
the
like
worst.
very, very, very apparent that like he loved her. Like I loved that she could like see into his memories and he was like talking about how he can't imagine that his dad ever felt this way about him or his brother because of the way he treated them
Yeah.
as like potential heirs.
Yeah.
And so like I get it. Like I get that like that's probably hard. But how did she care that he was dead before that? Because their last like 6 or 7 interactions before he died were so bad.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
leveled the town that she thought all of her
That she's
ancestors were
from.
at and didn't tell
Yeah.
her.
Like at some point she had to draw the line and it's like I don't know. And again, I'm same as you. I don't really have experience with grief and I'm like not familiar with how you cope with those kinds of feelings at the same time, but because this is fiction, she got to let him go. Like he's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah. That's how I feel. I'm like, as soon as he would have called humans in front of me a human livestock and made it very, very clear that he didn't give a shit about any human except for me, I would have been pissed. But like,
Yeah.
whatever. We know that she like does like still kind of hold him accountable in her head for certain things. It just like is surprising to me how much more she like misses him.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Moving on. We've got next Rain.
My king.
What were your thoughts?
Literally love this man. Okay, I think the reason that the enemies to lovers, whatever, for this book, which is like what I had hoped for it, didn't work out is because he was so painfully in love with her the whole time. Like, you gotta have two enemies for it to be enemies to lovers. And so she was just literally being a fucking bitch to him, like,
Yeah.
the whole beginning, and he's just handling it because I feel like he knew that he fucked her over by killing Vincent and not saying anything to her about it ahead of time, but it would have been able to happen if he had. And he kind of gave her own space to like be sad about it and like grieve and everything, but you could still tell that he like really loved her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like he is the reason she is who she is. Like, she had no idea that she could harness wings. She didn't know how powerful she was. Like, he did so much to go out of his way to like find her mom, like stuff about her mom and stuff about her aunt. Like, I couldn't love him more. And like, he tried to set her free and say like, you don't even have to rule this kingdom if you don't want to. Like, I know we're married and you're the queen, but like, you don't have to be. Like, you're totally free to do whatever you want. Stunning character.
100%. I really felt like he was like the star of the show in this book. Like, I absolutely loved that he has like so much faith in Araya, and like he just like believes in her so much. Like, he helped her with the flying, and like he knew that she was gonna come to his rescue. Like, I actually really liked that in this book. I feel like a lot of times the female main character, the male just kind of like relies on her for like moral support, and it's more just like the emotional part. But like, Rain saw her as like his 100% equal. Like, she could hold her on, and sometimes I feel like he even saw her like above himself. I just loved like how supportive he was of her pretty much no matter what. Like, he was so remorseful, but like understood why she would feel the same. He really was just like the star.
Yes, I agree. And I had something else to say, and now I can't remember what it was, but I just feel like he also kind of let her like take the reins. Like, even whenever she fucked him over and like pulled the shit with like telling the Hiyaj like where his army was gonna be, he was like, you know what, like, this is your part of the war. Like, I'm gonna let you fight the war. And like, you know, he offered her like a secret deal against Septimus to like see like if they could like do it together without him and all this stuff. I just feel like he put so much stock in her. Oh, what I was gonna say is, I feel like he was the star because we got all the interludes about him, which I fucking love the interludes.
Yeah.
But they were all about him like being a slave, and like, I didn't realize he was like a sex slave and like a blood slave until this book for that king. And you know what was so kind of like brushed over? It got brought up, but like not really that much. That Nessanin was King Nekulai's wife.
Yeah.
Like, I was stunned. That is not what I thought it was going to be. And so their whole story was really sad. I just feel like you got to know him at a much deeper level. Totally. And so I just like, I appreciated it so much.
Totally. No, I love the part where, or like how he just continues to talk about like, I don't want to be like Nikolai and like all these people who wronged me. And I love that you can see like Rain is like self-conscious and like he has fears about things, and like he's not this perfect leader. Like, he has losses, people betray him. Like, it just felt really like raw and real. And it was different than others because like he is not the king that's going to just go like blazing through, win every war, win every battle. Like, he's always the strongest, always the mightiest. Like, I actually really love that it's not that way. And I loved the story with Messin, and I loved when they're like at the Kajari and Vincent wins and like they know what's about to happen, and Nessanin is like, you go, like, just go, don't be here whenever it happens. And then like Nyaxia looks down at him
that he was funneling the information to Vincent. That made me so happy. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. It made me so happy to know that like he played a part in the takedown of Neculi, and then he's also the person to kill Vincent. He's just like really been the silent usurper, and then now like the real one.
Totally. And it's like, this was literally like centuries in the making. It was just, it was so good. But I really loved his character. I don't love a dual POV. Like, really? I don't know why. I don't like to read from both perspectives, but I actually didn't mind it in this case. I think because there was the difference between like Araya hated him, but he didn't hate her. So it was like nice to get like an inside look of with how he actually, was feeling at the time.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh, wait, I have one other thing to say.
Okay, go ahead.
We got to talk about There She Is. Because
we don't. I was pissed about it in the last book. I'm pissed about it in this book. I don't want to hear it or see it ever again.
It's so cringe. Like, I'm telling you, if that was my husband and he had like a little like
a fucking
catchphrase, thing, I would be like, I'm literally not joking. Don't say that to me again. Like, stop.
Come up with some.
It was so cringe.
It bothered the fuck out of me, and like I was actually gonna put that in my like hot takes or things that I wanted to change, but like literally, I'm pretty sure in the first quarter of the book it was said 4 to 5 times, and I was like, oh my God, I just like genuinely like it's little things like that piss me off. And this is like a really good intro for you, for Jennifer Armentrout, for whenever we read from Blood and Ash, because she has these same little things. And I think it's because I don't know how old Carissa Broadbent is. I don't think she's that old, but like millennial women like think little shit like that is so cool and funny and like, oh, like we have this thing that just we do. And it's like, no, it's annoying.
No.
And I would like to see less of it.
It's so cringe. And like, I know that we're talking about romance novels here. Like, stuff's going to be cringe. That's beyond.
Very true to put that into perspective. But yes, I feel like if it said There She Is once in the first book and There She Is like at the end of the last book, I would be like, oh, like that's the thing that he said. But she wouldn't let me get through a chapter without it happening. So I like couldn't get it out of my head.
And it was like when she hated him, when she liked him, when they were like, okay, like at the most almost like inopportune times, like, shut up.
Like, literally?
Don't say it again.
Yeah, it's like Rain's one flaw now. Now Rain has a flaw. Carissa, are you happy?
Right. It was supposed to be like his thing. It is his thing. And it's the worst
thing. Derogatory.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's just move on. Okay, next character in question is Septimus.
Look, I'm mad. Like real mad that he was the real villain, not the like the cute villain. He's the real villain. Oh, like
that pissed me off.
He's such a like sneaky, slimy, like manipulative, like little shit. Like, I love him. I can't like.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with him still.
Yeah, to be honest, I find it unbelievable that he would make the wrong choice. Like, for him to choose some random Nightborn noble over someone with two people with an air mark that are married with magic
Yeah.
from Nyaxia. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. I don't know what got in his head. I don't know who told him this was a good idea. But whenever he looked at Araya and said, I bet against you this time, I was like,
You're
no,
wrong. Like,
that didn't really happen. Like, I was so upset because at the beginning of the book, it was like it was the last book. Like, he was like a little sneaky. He was always smoking. No one like really trusted him, but he was like pivotal to the story. Like, they needed his backup and his forces and everything. So you couldn't really get rid of him, which I love. I'm like, I kind of like him around. He's funny and he's like
Yeah.
sneaky, and I love that. Mysterious. So for him to turn around and be like the actual problem, I don't like that.
no, I absolutely hate that. And I was, I'm upset that he was like in the book a little bit less, like after that point. I mean, I understand why, but when he told Araya the story about the Bloodborne curse and like his brother, and he went to like end the curse or whatever, I was so intrigued. I love shit like
Yes.
that. Like,
I thought he was going to have
it
a
was
much bigger
so,
role.
so good.
Yeah. And
I did too.
yeah, I'm hoping, well, we're all hoping that the Bloodborne duology is from his point of view and whatever love interest he has, because I need to know more. I need the curse to be done with, but I need it to be by his hand. I did.
Totally.
He's so smart and sneaky. Like, I loved how he set Araya up to go find that mirror, because the mirror was like really, really important for the whole entire book.
Yeah.
But it was just funny because he like left her door halfway unlocked, knew she was going to unlock it, left all of these secret tunnels to Vince's office unmanned, left the office unlocked, left all this shit. And she didn't even think about it. She was like, wow, no one knows I'm down here. Like, he's literally sitting in the next room.
Like he literally like laid the trap, and she just like waltzed herself right into it.
Yeah,
God,
and I
love
like,
him.
I do feel bad for her because she was captive or whatever, but like he needed to see if that was going to work. So, what's he? What did he didn't really expect
Yeah.
her to like do a favor for him, so he had to like set her up.
Right, exactly. Well, with Septimus, I just like can't get enough of him. So the second novella in this world, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, is about his cousin. And like I said, I'm only like a short ways in. Septimus has not made an appearance either through like conversation, like someone talking about him, or him being there. I am literally praying that this man shows up in
Any
the
moment.
novella because, yeah, because I'm not gonna like spoil, but the curse, because obviously they're both bloodborne, the curse like storyline carries over into
Okay.
Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. And so I'm just like hoping that I can get more of him, or because Carissa said that the Shadowborn duology is next, so like we're not about to get more. I'm like seriously praying that this is how I get, or just like quench my thirst a little bit.
No, for real.
more.
I like fully expected him to be like along for the whole ride, like the whole book. And then at the end, I was like, we haven't heard from Septimus. I feel like at the end, whenever they did the big, like, almost like coronation ball, I was like, he's going to be like sitting there in the shadows smoking a cigarillo. And no utterance of his whereabouts. I was so sad. I was so sad. I want to know more about him. Again, like, he was technically the villain. I don't really care. I still love him.
No,
Like, I hate it for the
still love him
story,
too,
but
and,
I still
like,
love him.
Yes, I just feel like with her introducing the storyline of the curse, like he has to play a bigger role. The Bloodborne duology has got to be about him. If it's not, I'm done.
Who could it be about? And don't, like, my whole worry is that when we get the next duology, which we both think is about Misha, if there's some random ass Bloodborne bitch that gets thrown in and she's the female main character, no, I need it to be Septimus. I don't even care if he has a love interest in it. I want it to be all about him.
I completely agree. So time will tell, but like I'm mad. I'm mad that he's the actual villain. I can only like pray that he has sick and twisted ulterior motives for doing what he did, because
It's the only thing
like
that
he
would
has to have
absolve him. Yeah.
there has to be a grander plan. Like,
Yeah.
please,
Please,
Carissa.
God. Yeah. Which I feel like towards the end of the book, she really showed how sick and twisted she is in the best way possible. So I feel like she's going to give that to us. And I feel like she has something brewing for Septimus because he just disappeared. So I don't think we're done with him, thankfully. But our next characters to review are Karis and Keturah, which are like Rain's. What are they? They're like his advisors, kind of.
Circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
Karis,
go ahead.
Karis has got to go. Like
He did go to prison.
And he deserves that.
Yep.
He really, really does. And like, why would he bet? Like you said, like Rain and Araya, they both have the air marks. Like they're married. Why? Why would he go against them for Simon's grimy ass?
He's so stupid. And he thought he was so slick. Vale knew something was wrong. He was like, we need to have an event to show our power to blah, 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 all the nobles. Okay. And then I felt really bad for Vale because everyone thought that he was the rat. And like us, me and you, know him better because we had our whole little novella with him. So we know him better than that. But I could not figure out who I thought it was. And then before it happened, I was like, well, it's not Keturah because that bitch ain't going to tell nobody nothing. But I was like, surely it's not like one of his like really good friends. But turns out, because I was thinking it was Septimus, honestly. I was like, Septimus knows most stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Or he'll at least get the information somehow. But no. Yeah, fuck him. I'm happy that he's like rotting away and didn't get to just like die an easy death. And I'm hoping that they'll get to use him for a lot more stuff.
Totally. So one thing about Karis that like I actually thought was so funny was the fact that like they kept talking about he was like the best party planner and like he designed that like
that was relatable
dress for Araya.
Yes. And then at the end they were like we almost wish Karis could be here because he would be so impressed with the ball. And I'm like, yeah, he had some definitely like endearing qualities and the dress was a slay. Like
yeah, it was.
I loved that. Yeah.
I just thought it was so like
how did that fit into his character?
Didn't feel like it. Yeah, no, I had the same thought, but I thought that was so funny. And
I think
then
it's funny too because
Keturah, we really didn't get.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We really didn't get like much from her. All I know is that like I trust this bitch with my life. That's and I don't really know why. Like I can't really explain it.
Exactly how I feel. I'm like, we have this like female like warlord almost kind of type of shit. And like she's very cutthroat, she's very to the point. You don't fuck with her. That's all I know, but that's all I need to know that I trust her. It is funny that they gave like
it's
the party planning quality to the male advisor.
Right.
Then like the badass, like don't talk to me, I won't talk to you, like secret keeper warlord to the female. I love that little dynamic.
I love it too. I'm like a little bit sad but that this duology is over, which obviously we're gonna hear more about it, but like I want more of these characters.
Me
like
too.
We really didn't get that much.
Yeah.
So I guess since we're pretty sure the next one's going to be about Misha, like we hope that we're going to get to kind of stay in touch with these folks for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Hope so too.
Okay. Next up, we have Vale/Lilith. And oh my gosh, like if you are listening to this and you have not read Six Scorched Roses, you absolutely have to.
Just pause and open the book. Like here.
It's so good. It's like 180 pages or something like that. And it is so worth it. It'll take you like a few hours to read it. It's about Vale and Lilith, and gosh, like it's so good. Vale
So good.
He is the ultimate pjom. Like when he gets there and he is so like obsessed in love with Lilith and like so protective over her. It's beautiful. He's just
Love
like
it.
the very best.
Love it. And I do hate that he has this reputation as one of the nobles whenever everyone was treating Rain like shit and like kind of just sat back and was like, my hands are tied, I can't do anything. Because obviously that carries over into Rain and his relationship now. But I do think it's cool that like everyone gets to see this like new side of him now that he has Lilith. Because I don't know, it's just really sweet how much they love each other. And like Lilith cracks me the fuck up. Like she
Oh my God.
has literally no self-awareness. She's like a STEM girl.
Yeah, or filter.
No.
Oh my God.
She's like a STEM girl. Like they're both like really into science and stuff. And she's like trying to be a healer. And so like, I don't know. Something about the way her brain operates is so fucking funny. Like she just says whatever.
The conversation that she and Rain had when he's like walking her back to her room, I was literally laughing out loud when she just like turns to him and she's like, you don't like Vale? Like, not even like accusatory. She's
not
just
a question.
Like,
she just said it.
You don't like him? Yeah. But she's like not pressed.
No.
She's just like.
She's like, you should unpack that.
It is what it is. Yeah. I absolutely love her. I'm so sad that we didn't get more from them, but I'm still hoping that we'll get more. I just really, really, really want Araya and Lilith to be besties. Like,
yes.
And I know that Misha's in the picture and like she's Rain's bestie and like by default Araya and Misha, and they are already really close, but like I've got to have more Lilith, and I just feel like Araya and Lilith speaking to one another is gonna be
Gold.
so good.
Like I just feel like I could just listen to it all day.
Yeah,
they're both funny, but Lilith, I love. You have to read 6 Scorched Roses. Like I can't say it more plainly than that. Like she's amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, I'm like very happy that they played such a big. I mean, like it wasn't a huge role, but I mean it was bigger than Keturah, and she's been in both books, you know. So I feel like I'm happy with the amount that we got from them. Next up on our roster, Jasmine. Love her.
Yes, she is such a bad bitch. I did not like her in the first book.
No. That's how the bad bitches
was
go.
The worst.
She's like Nesta.
Totally.
Like you're a fucking bitch, and then you're like, oh, but you're that bitch. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're my bitch.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And Jasmine is like a ride or die bitch for the Hiage. Like the minute that Vincent was dead, she's like, Araya, like that's my queen now, and
what we doing?
I will do
What's
literally
the plan?
whatever.
What's the orders?
She's so loyal. I love that. And like she's such a bad bitch. Like I love that there's women in charge here and like doing a very good job with things. She was just the best. I loved getting to hear her take on her relationship with Vincent and all of that. I feel like it hinted at their relationship or said like they were friendly in the first book, but we didn't get like more into that. And I loved hearing that from her perspective.
Yeah, totally. Well, the first book like kind of did portray her as like sort of an enemy to Aurea because she was another woman in Vincent's life. But like I remember like whenever they weren't like in wartime, like at the beginning of the first book, she was like always like in these like little slutty outfits, like being pretty, trying to be funny in front of Aurea. And like I don't care. Like this bitch is it. Like she's so good at her job, and like you said, she was just like ready to do whatever Aurea said, no matter what, because she's in it for this Hiage community, no matter what that means.
Yeah.
So I was like very into her character, and again, like it's interesting seeing how Vincent treated other people in his life. Like Jasmine is one, and then Aurea's mom, and just like seeing kind of like all the different ways. I don't know. People like knew him. It was like really interesting. I also think that like I would have loved more of Jasmine like winning, because I feel like the like battles that we got, which while I'm glad that they weren't like super in depth like battle scenes, like I wanted a win for Jasmine, like not just like a total takeover, like they blow them out of the water. Her army is just like so powerful and good, because I feel like she deserved that.
You're right, and that's something like I did not really even pay attention to, but we really are like trusting Jasmine on because they told us to. Like
Yeah.
she actually hasn't really gotten an opportunity to prove like how awesome she is. So that's a really interesting point, and I don't know. I feel like coming up, I hope that there's not too many more battles, but like
Yeah.
it would be nice to just see her
See
like
her like,
absolutely kick ass.
yeah, like, yeah. Um, okay, next up we have Misha. We know that she was not Katie's favorite in the first book. However, my time away from her, I feel like gave me
It
a
was
little bit of
good.
a new outlook on her.
It was definitely restorative. I was happy to see her come back into the story. I liked her character so much more this time around. Just seeing her like more subdued, and you really get to see like her trauma and see not just like the psychotic, like happy all the time kind of girl that she is. It was such a breath of fresh
It
air.
was. I agree wholeheartedly. Like, she didn't get on my nerves that much on the first one, but I think like having a little break from her made me like miss her. You know what I mean? I remember, I don't know when she came in, like maybe probably the first quarter of the book, but like even those like pages without her, because of the like animosity between Rain and Araya, when she came in, I was like, thank God she's here to save the day and their relationship and like mend the bond between them two.
Truly.
So I was happy to have her back. And I love, love that we find out that she's Shadowborn, and she 86 is the man who turned her and left her to die. So that's what I didn't know. Because at the last book, so Katie and I thought maybe the Shadowborn book would be from Misha's perspective, but we didn't know if she was Shadowborn, because to us, she's like Rain's person. So we were like, well, surely
Right.
he turned her, but it was never really clear. And then some dumbass on Instagram commented and tagged the club saying that they knew who it was going to be about. We don't follow this person. We don't really know them. And we asked them who they thought the let me repeat, Shadowborn duology would be about. And they said Lilith.
Like, are you okay?
Get a brain cell.
You obviously read Six Scorched Roses. You're very well aware
The
that
bitch is
Lilith
Nightborn.
is Nightborn. Like, shut up. What are you talking about?
What are you fucking talking about? So I was on the club that day when they tagged Katie, and Katie had already responded. And then when I saw it, I saw Lilith, and I had not read Six Scorched Roses yet. I had like just started. So I didn't even know, like, there's a couple of chapters where you don't even know her name is Lilith. Like, you have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
So when I found out it was from the main character's perspective, I was like, oh, weird. And then it goes on to say like, oh, like this singular vampire in the story is Nightborn. I was like, well, that can't be right. So anyway, we think it's about Misha.
It's so and like the idiocracy is twofold, because Lilith babe was already a main character.
That is what. So before I found out that she was Nightborn, I was like, no way we're getting a duology about a character who was specifically written to be the female main character of the novella. Do you know how literature works? Fantasy literature works?
Like, get one brain cell,
Be
please.
fucking for real.
It was It was bad. Anyway, so
Back to Misha.
with Misha being, yeah, with Misha being, sorry, we just have to talk shit really quick. With Misha being like turned by the Shadowborn Prince, so when it like their very first kind of like interaction with each other is she sees him at the ball, and it like Araya says he can't take his eyes off of her. In my mind, I thought, okay, so he's got a crush on Misha. This is how they're going to secure his alliance, is like through them
That's not a
having
bad
a
thought,
relationship
though.
with. I really thought I was. I thought I was onto something. I was like, she cannot get anything past me, bitch. She did, and I was when it talks about like Misha just like absolutely snaps and attacks his ass. I was like,
Feral.
I was like, why? Like, what is she doing? It really, really,
Yeah.
really threw me. Like,
Yes.
even at that point in time, I couldn't figure it out at that point in time, like, until she literally said, like, he's the person who
Yeah.
turned me.
No, exactly.
I had no idea.
No. And whenever they were at the dinner, like when she was like leaving and she was like had a weird look on her face from him, I thought she was just like
Yeah.
spooked by him, like didn't really like his like the way he was looking at her or whatever. Like I just thought he like didn't sit right with her or something. I didn't know it was like all of that. But I guess that's why we didn't know, because like later the big reveal, but like I was cracking up imagining her, because to me she's like skinny and tall and like the shorter hair, and she was
Yeah.
like limbs flying around, like just like murdering this man.
Yeah.
But I am so happy that she got to murder him, and that like it wasn't by someone
Same.
else's hand. Like it was just she got to do it, and like she got to watch him go lights out, and she didn't have to pay anything for her crimes. Like she got to do what she wanted to do.
Totally. And I also liked the fact that like I thought that Rain didn't know who turned her because she like was having a hard time opening up about it, but like she literally didn't know who
Just
he was.
didn't know.
And like
exactly, that's what I was confused about too.
I felt so bad for her, like when it talked about that she had to just like go on about her life be in fear
Wondering.
that she would just see him out like in public one day. Like
And then the part where she was like, at one point in her life, every person that she saw, she like almost associated with it, every man, because she was like, I just like really can't remember. So I'm happy that she got to have not only the moment of like, oh, this is the person who did it, but also the closure of like, okay, well, they can't do it to anybody else.
yeah, no, I love that for her. So anyway, we are like pretty much 99.9% certain she's going to be the next female main character for the Shadowborn duology. And I'm going to give it a chance. Like Misha is just not my favorite. And truthfully, we like don't fully know her yet.
Right.
So it will be interesting, like, just to see how Carissa writes her character and writes her story,
Yeah.
but wishing her the best at the Lotus Islands on her little adventure.
Yeah, I think her deciding at the end of the book that she's going to go away and do a trip, like the Shadowborn thing was already like, okay, like that's who it's going to be. But then her being like, well, I'm going off without you. I was like, okay, it's definitely about Misha. Do I care about Misha? That's the tough thing to decipher. I'm going to read it. If Carissa Broadbent writes it, I'm reading it.
Totally.
I think that she will find a way to make me care about Misha. I just believe in that.
I'm
Is it
holding
happening
out hope
at
as well.
the moment? No. But who knows? Maybe she'll find some hot
Yeah.
vampire lord in the Lotus Islands.
Yeah. Oh, one can only hope.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Our next character is Evelena, and what? A psychotic bitch. And I loved every second of it.
Yup. I was going to say, like, the craziest fucking character I've been in contact with in a long, long time. I couldn't get enough of it. She was so fucking scary and creepy, but she like wasn't like, you could tell she wasn't like acutely murderous. But you were like,
Yeah.
this bitch has some screws loose. She's not okay. But I like
Yeah.
loved everything. The fucking creepy ass little kid army, like disgusting.
And they're all blonde.
Obsessed with
like,
it.
She's so deeply, deeply unwell. And you've got like the creepy ass little kids. The fact that like she collects Vincent's belongings and like won't do anything with them. Like,
Yeah, it was a lot.
She rules over this city like no one lives. It's just like, it's so fucking weird. And I loved it.
Loved all of this. She's so fucking crazy. The kid army is so disgusting, but I'm so obsessed with everything about it. Like, how the fuck did that come about? Why are they all blonde? Why are they all look like Vincent? And then, like, the fact that she thought that Vincent was going to one day come back and bestow the heir, whatever, upon her. What? Like, he tried to murder you in your sleep. You were like 8.
She's so like fucked up in the head. It was okay. And then like she captures Araya, nails her wings to the wall.
Terrifying.
And oh my God, I was like cringing at that. Like, I cannot even imagine. Obviously, I don't have wings, but like, I could not imagine. And when Araya is like talking about how she's going to trick her by like saying she's going to like transfer ownership of the sword from Araya to Evelina. And Araya is literally narrating. She's like, this is so stupid. Like, I cannot believe this bitch is falling for this. I was literally laughing out loud.
That was so funny. And you could just tell, like, that's how desperate she is, that she will believe anything that is in line with her theory that Vincent will, like, somehow be a part of her. So, like, getting that sword is everything to her. I was cracking up. I was obviously, like, very scared for, like, Araya's well-being, but, like, mostly I was entertained.
It was so psychotic. I'm like actually a little bit upset that she's dead because like I love her psycho ass. I don't know why. Like maybe that's a hot take, but like she added so much to this story and it was so fucking funny.
So fucking funny because like at first I was like she's really creepy and then I realized like how mad, like absolutely mad she was. And I was like, okay, no, this is getting good. Like,
yeah.
So next,
so good.
We have Simon. This punk ass bitch. Okay, so let's talk about him.
Okay.
Let's talk about how didn't his brother get beheaded at the very first meeting?
Shot him.
Okay. So I understand that he's not really, rooting for this alliance and this, monarchy. I get it. However, to think that you can just come in and take over because you have noble blood, like, where's your air mark? Where's your accolades? You have no army. What?
Like, we need to at least see a resume. Like,
no. And the fact that, like,
imagine being that arrogant.
How did Septimus fall? How did Carys and Septimus fall for this trap? Like, I'm not convinced that this guy has a head on his shoulders. Like, he just thought because he was pure blood, Nightborn, like, whatever, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, just waltz in here. And I want to reiterate, take the crown from 2 people who won the Kajari. Who do you think that you are?
He literally is like such an arrogant asshole. And like his wife too. I wanted to like snatch that bitch's wig. Like I don't know how Araya did not literally beat her ass when they showed up to the ball.
Her? Oh my God. And wasn't she like fucking around with some like male like
oh yeah. Yeah. It was just like he sucks so bad. But you know what? I was like so grossed out by the fact that he had like the pendant with the teeth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but like feel bad for him because like he got played too. Like,
So that's
then
what I'm
Septimus
thinking.
turned on him too.
That's what I'm thinking about Septimus, is that like maybe he really didn't think that this was like the better option for king or queen. It was just like, this is the person that I can kind of abuse and like use this like god blood magic on to see if it works, you know, because Rain and Array are not finna let that shit fly. They're not gonna be your little test dummies. So I think he like saw a way for it to be beneficial for him, maybe. Because I know he's smart.
That's a really good point. That's a really, really, really good observation. Like, maybe Simon was just like more easily manipulated.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
that's a really interesting.
I just refuse to
point.
believe that Septimus would fall for Simon's shit, but actually I don't think he would. I think he just saw another way in and was like, well, this is a good way to try out to see if, because I think that if Simon could get, if Septimus could get not only Simon, but the Shadowborn person to like also like use this whatever magic, he could like have total control over all of the vampire kingdoms. I don't know if that's his goal, but like I just think that could happen.
Yeah. I just really am hoping that like Rain and Araya are willing to look past Septimus's betrayal and like
that's true. It's like kind of tough. But let's talk about the weird ass like god blood for just like a second. I feel like we weren't like told about enough gods to like understand what exactly this entails. But it's Nyaxia's husband's blood, like literally taken from his dead body. Yeah. And same with the teeth. So
the teeth was fucking weird.
So fucking weird. And I'm still not 100% sure like how they got the blood if he was already dead, like how dead he was, like how long ago was the blood harvested. I don't know.
Right.
But then also like,
and another thing, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, you can go.
I was gonna say I didn't quite understand the like activator part of it, because like they had the teeth and the pendant. Like, what was the power of the pendant? And if you had to have an activator, Vincent told Araya that she could just drink the blood. I don't know. I like wasn't following how it worked.
No, me either. I was so confused by that. And it seemed like it wasn't like, I'm sorry, Carissa, like very well thought out. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like, okay,
I agree.
The people that knew how to do magic knew that you could like make power activator. And then on the other hand, there was this like god blood. But maybe if you have the blood, you don't need the activator. You just need the activator for the smaller things. Because I remember the reason why they put the blood itself into that big ass like tomb is because it made them feel like it was too powerful. So I think the activator maybe had been for like smaller amounts of the god magic. Maybe.
Yeah, it was just like, I feel like if
clear.
this is not going to come into play later, this was definitely just like a kind of a loose end that was confusing and not tied up at all. The pendant was so weird. The teeth is like teeth after someone is dead. Like, teeth out of a body is not fun.
No.
And I hated that. One thing, okay, I have mixed feelings about this. Rain wanted to kill him so bad, and Rain genuinely felt like this was like his right to end Simon's life, and I totally agree with that. But then like Rain didn't get to do it, and I hated that. At the same time, Nyaxia just like kind of bebops over to Simon, plucks the pendant from his chest, and is like, "What is this?" And like,
no,
Rain literally couldn't even touch it.
Yeah, like the boy died. Like, didn't he like die on impact of that getting removed from him?
Yeah, 100%. Like, Rain tried to remove it, and it, like, shocked both of them. They fell, like, clattering to the earth. Nyaxia walks over like she's picking a flower and just, like, gently releases it from his chest. And she's like, she says, like, "My love, what have they done to you?" And, like, Simon is literally dead. And she's just, like, minding her own.
I'm like, I'm very sad that that's how he died, for sure, because I wanted Rain to have that, like, satisfying moment. But, like, I'm just glad he is dead because Rain and Araya had nothing left. Like, Rain was dead on the scene, pretty much, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Literally.
like, I mean, the best we could hope for is that he somehow died, you know? But
Yeah.
let's go ahead and move into Nyaxia. I know we had our couple characters down, but like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Like, after all of this, she offers you up your husband's blood. They do all of this stuff in your name at the Kajari, like, blah, blah, blah. And you can't handle them, like, having an alliance for the next, what, 300 or 400 years that they're alive?
Oh my God. Like, I just want to reiterate, Nyaxia is such a fucking cunt. Like, there's no other way to say it. But what I don't understand is she wouldn't grant the Coriolis bond. Why would you even tell Araya, like, sprinkle it in there that another god or goddess could grant it? It's like, I think she was literally just trying to start some shit. Like, for no reason.
Percent. Because, like, which I don't know if she knew for sure that another god would, but her exact words were, I cannot be the one to grant it to you. So, like, I think that just, like, that did plant a seed, but there was still no guarantee that anyone would do that. Because, like,
Yeah.
you know, you have to have some sort of connection to a god to do anything for you. So,
Right.
I think she's gonna wreak fucking havoc. I'm really, really nervous about what kind of shit she's gonna pull later on down the line.
Oh my God.
I don't think she's gonna
When they
wait
were
very
at the,
long.
like, no, when they were at the ceremony and they were like waiting for her to accept their offering, you know, she was just sitting there like contemplating, like,
Should I do this for them? Yeah, no, she's
or like,
terrifying.
she is. And yeah, I'm very, very, very nervous about like whatever reckoning she has in store for them because she's so powerful. Like, what do you even do? Like, can you even defend yourself against that? I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so. So basically, they're fucked at some point in their near future, is what it sounded like.
Yeah. But like until then, ignorance is bliss, I guess.
That's true. I mean, it's very ominous. Like, they were thinking about it the whole time they were having that ceremony. Like, when is she going to come down and do something bad? But you never really know. Okay, so
Yeah.
next we have Alana or Elena, the mother.
Yes. I hate that we had Ilana in the first book. And now I'm saying Alana.
I was saying Alana as well.
The names are too similar. Like, why did she do that?
Do
Anyway,
you
I mean,
think
that's
it
not
was
like
because
a
like
huge
one was like a mother
issue.
figure for her and one was just like literally her mom?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't care what the what the
True.
reasoning was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
It's a
think that's
problem
like
for
a
me.
total excuse, but I mean, we haven't seen
No.
Alana. We haven't seen Alana in ages. Like, the bitch has been dead since like chapter 5 of the first book, so I'm not like super worried about it. I actually didn't even think about
Yeah.
it. But like, I genuinely loved getting to learn about her mother.
Same.
I just like never thought that was in the cards for us, to be honest. And then it ended up like saving their asses, not only from like being able to get healed by her aunt, but then also like being able to call on Acacia, which I've been calling her Akeha, Akeia. I don't know, but we're gonna pronounce the J.
Okay.
I haven't watched her stories to know how anything is pronounced.
Yeah.
So for Acacia, like she would have never granted that Coriolis bond without being able to say like, my mom was one of your like followers, acolytes.
100%. And then we also had like the bracelet, the ring, the necklace that like created the map that led her to the god blood.
That.
I really did too. I did feel like it was a little bit contrived, but I still really, really, really liked it, especially because I've been saying Alia for the sister's name. Not sure how you've been
Oh,
pronouncing
Aaliyah.
it, but She like gave her the bracelet thinking like this is really sentimental, like whatever, having absolutely no idea. I really,
Yeah.
really liked that part. Like it was really sweet. And then obviously it leads them to the god blood.
Yeah. And didn't she like, so, okay, so she has the earrings, the bracelet, and necklace. Is that right? Or ring.
Ring,
Bracelet.
necklace, and bracelet. Yeah.
But one of them, I can't remember if it was the ring or the necklace, like Vincent found her wearing it. Like she was already wearing it whenever he found her. And I think it was a necklace. But
Okay. Yeah.
I just thought it was
one
cool
of
that they were
them.
all in different places. It wasn't like they were all together like in this thing and she just had to put them on. Like I thought it was
Yeah.
like a cool merging of all the storylines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like badass that her mom was like such a powerful like seer and like sorcerer. She was like literally badass and like Vincent loved her. Like did not think that she was going to leave him.
I know. And like more power to her for leaving him. And like, I really felt like she held a lot more power over him than like anybody would be willing to give her credit for, because he even says like it killed him to kill Nessanin, who was just like an innocent, like someone's innocent wife. He literally would not be able to live with himself if he killed like the mother of his child, this woman that he loved. And I loved getting to learn about her like marriage with Alchem. And then Araya has two other siblings, Jonah and Leeson, I think. And it was just really sweet. Like I loved getting that background on
Yeah.
Araya, because and I didn't think we would get it anytime soon. So I'm like so happy with the way that it turned out.
I agree. I think it was cool that like she got to meet her aunt, which I've been calling Aaliyah.
Okay.
Which I feel like makes a little bit more sense, like phonetically for a name. No offense to you. But like,
Like, yeah, to be fair though, Carissa don't care about phonetics. So
she really don't be. But like, I don't know. I just feel like that whole scenario with getting to meet her and learn about everything was just like really beneficial to them. Not only did they get to like learn all this shit, but then she like healed them, which was like even more badass. And then she got to be
Yeah.
introduced to like Aaliyah's husband and friend who are in charge of like the human
Yeah.
forces, and they get to have backup for the like big battles. So I loved that, and I just felt like it gave
same.
Araya like almost a little bit of peace to know that Vincent's not the only motherfucker who's ever loved her, and he's
Yeah.
also the reason why like they're dead. So another stake in the coffin for
Exactly.
Vincent.
100%. And I really did feel like getting to learn all of this, like through Aaliyah, for Araya, like I feel like she did not know how much of an impact like not knowing this story was having on her, and like learning all of this. I know that was so healing for her to just like get to learn all of that. Like she finally has some kind of answer about her past. And oh my God, I thought it was so sweet. Like Rain was just like sitting there, like rubbing her back the whole time that she's here. It was like so sweet. And then they remake Vincent's sword into like the twin blades, which she continues to say, like,
Yes, that's like
I
her
fought
thing.
so much better. Like, yes, it was just so wholesome and beautiful. And like, I could not have asked for anything more except for that bitch Tamira or whatever. I did not like her at first. Oh, another thing. I felt like the humans like joining the march was another kind of like loose end that they literally never spoke about it again.
Never
after
said
that.
if the human forces survived, if they like did anything in the war, like nothing. But
Yeah.
nice to know that they showed up, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It was just kind of like maybe it was just like showing the alliance between like the humans, because you also then had the man who like worked at the front desk at Rain's apartment when he like helped carry Rain in, and he says like, I know who you are, and like our home has been so much more peaceful since you've been, you know, like the king, and I'd like to keep it that way. Maybe it was just kind of like reinforcing this idea that like we're all gonna be one big happy family soon.
Yep.
Enough, hopefully.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the kingdom being like more united is very obviously because of Rain. And I also think that's like one of the reasons that Araya felt like a little bit more warmed toward him throughout the book because
Yeah.
people kept like reminding her of that fact. Like, this
Totally.
has changed because he is like actually focused on it and putting the things like into, you know, into action that are like
practice.
changing the way that the humans are being perceived. And so I think
Yep.
that part was like those things that kept happening where people were like thankful for rain was like my favorite because I felt like
Yeah.
it made him see that a lot of it was worth it, even though he's like getting constant backlash and people not wanting to have him
Yeah.
as king, which is really sad. But yeah,
Yeah.
love that. Okay, last
Totally.
but not least, we have Acacia herself.
Iconic. So iconic. I just loved getting introduced to like another god or goddess in
Agree.
kind of like a really like a more intimate sense rather than just like hearing, you know, their folklore or whatever it is. By the way, the best Taylor Swift album. Anyway, I loved just getting to meet her, and like it was the only Coriolis bond that anybody in the White Pantheon has ever bestowed
Because that's like
upon
Nyaxia's
it.
thing, right? Because she does it for like their wishes, but
Yeah. Yeah. And so Acacia, which here's where, so like I said, I'm reading Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, and she is the goddess that's like represented in
okay.
that book. And you learn so much more like about her in that book. And the thing about Acacia is she does not make decisions or like see the world through the lens of like good versus evil. She only sees her like definition of right is pretty much what fate has already decided is going to happen. It's either right, meaning like this is the correct path of time, or it's not right. And when I say right, it's like literally capitalized, like capital R, like this is right. And so that kind of gives you a little bit more insight into like why she's okay with Nyaxia, because she does not see Nyaxia for how she betrayed the White Pantheon or all of that. She only sees like Nyaxia leaving them was how fate had already designed it to be. So like
Yeah.
she doesn't have a reason to like be upset with things.
Interesting. Okay.
It really is like really, really, really interesting. But that said, Acacia granted the Coriolis bond for a reason. Like she already knows what fate has in store for
Yeah.
things. So
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's a cool perspective. Like, I don't know shit about Acacia. And I was wondering, is that Misha's god? Who was Misha's god that she was like,
no, Atreus or
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But it was somebody different. And I couldn't remember if it's the same one or not. But like, I'm confused by like her magic. Like people who, like the mom and the aunt who were like wanting to go be healers and like wanted to use like Acacia's magic. What is that?
Yeah.
Like, if it's
so
only relying
Acacia-
on fate.
Yeah, so you'll notice that Alia says like whenever they're all like cursing, they say like "Mother help us" or whatever.
She says,
Acacia
Weaver.
is
Yeah.
Weaver. She's like the weaver of fates. So she like can predict the future, like her followers. They call it like seering.
So that's why she was a
which-
seer. Okay. Got
right,
it.
because they can like they have like more vague kind of like episodes where they can see what lies ahead. It's not like in depth or anything, but Acacia is like the goddess of the unknown or something. So like pretty much everything that like the fates have already decided, that's what she is
Got
able
it.
to like.
I was
don't-
more confused about. I
she
get the
doesn't
seer. I get
control.
the seer thing. I don't get the healer, but that's neither here nor there. Because you know the aunt was going to
Yeah.
healer school, and that's still. She said that she was still doing Acacia's magic, right? Yeah, because she's like
She
says
did say
Weaver.
that, and yeah, I honestly I don't know. I couldn't answer that either. That is an interesting point. I don't know.
I don't know. I need to know more
but-
about these gods. Like I feel like they're just. I need to know more about them. I need like a little glossary or something. Just a quick little.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
It would be so helpful.
The other like the other part of that is that Acaja like tells Rain and Araya that Nyaxia is like gonna pretty much like have some shit up her sleeve. Like Acaja knows what's going to happen. Like she knows when and where and what and how. Like she knows all of that. So like there also is a reason that she told Rain and Araya when she could have just kept that to herself.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really interesting. Like obviously we can't even speculate. We have absolutely no idea, but I do almost wish that like you had more of that background on Acaja before.
I want a background on all of them. Like, who are they? Like,
Yeah.
I need to know these things to be able to form my
She-
opinion on the book. Or, like, on the
She
characters.
should write like, yeah, she should write like a multi-part kind of like novella series that focuses on all of the gods and goddesses.
No,
and
please
then that way
no.
we
I
can
don't want
kinda
that. I want a
get-
glossary. I do not want more shit to read. But
Can't relate.
we will submit both ideas to her and see what she wants to do best.
Okay, that's fair.
So
That's fair.
now let's go to the next part of our show where we talk about favorite everything. What is your favorite character?
So, like, I'm sorry, but it just is still Septimus. Like, when I tell you I am obsessed with him, okay? Like, I literally feel like I have, like, Stockholm syndrome from this man. Like, he can do whatever he wants to me. Like, I'm in love with him. And I'm so obsessed with his story. I'm so, like, fixated on the curse and everything that
He does have a
that
much
entails.
more intriguing like storyline than everyone else, but just because of simply being Bloodborne, like not because of anything else.
Yeah, I'm like obsessed with him. I absolutely like, I can't freaking wait for the Bloodborne duology. I'm still like praying to God that it's him. I hope that I hear from him in Slaying the Vampire Conqueror.
I know, I'm ready for
Like
that
I
for
can't
you.
get enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
What about you?
no,
Who's your favorite?
totally. Unpredictable as fuck. Favorite character all around, Rain. I was gonna say Jasmine, but I just feel like still I like Rain more. But I don't need to dive into that. I think it's pretty obvious. He's like the best character.
He really is. He was the star of the show.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite scene. So mine was, and I can't remember the exact part of the book it happened, but he is going to release her and set her free. And he has found all of this information regarding her mom, which means like he has like dug through all of Vincent's archives and all the shit in the castle and like just to find stuff, because at this point he doesn't even know that her aunt is alive or anything. It was just for her information to like help her feel a little bit more closure.
Oh my God.
And then he was like, and you don't have to
yes.
stay, I just want you to have this. And I was like, that is angelic.
Stop. That is so sweet. I forgot about that part. You're right. Like that is such a good part, and it's so just like pure. Like he just loves her, and he
Yeah.
was just willing to just say like, "Here's this. This is all that I can find. Like, please be on your way." Oh my God, that's such a good scene.
So fucking good. What's yours?
Okay, so my favorite one was at the end where Araya is like getting all the visions from Vincent. To me, this felt Sarah J. Maas adjacent.
Oh,
And
100%.
I was so, like, I literally wrote down on my notes, like, this book is so fucking good. Like, she's so clever. And I swear on my life, this is the first time since reading any Sarah J. Maas books that I have felt this way. Like, that something has been so clever. And, like, I just loved the whole, like, concept of it. It was so good. Like, it did feel a little bit convenient that, like, the whole thing is that she needs to figure out her past, but I think it makes sense that these are literally Vincent's deepest, darkest secrets, and this is, like, what he would have to give up in order for this magic to, like, keep this god blood protected. I don't know. It was my favorite. Oh, and I did have my runner-up was when they rescue everyone from the castle, because I was just like, the gang is back together. I was like so
Yes.
lit at that point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's a good scene too. I actually really liked that scene as well. Okay. Right.
Okay, it's time to talk some shit. So what
Amazing,
was your
perfect.
least favorite scene?
Okay. It's not even like that sad of like a scene per se. I fucking hated that they lost the battle. Like whenever they were gonna attack the thing, because whenever they were like traveling, they were like, "We have to rest," and they were like, "They're not ready to rest." Like they're just like so excited to go fight this battle. They like have
Yeah.
like purpose and like a meaning, and they feel like they're gonna really take on
Yeah.
the other army and like really do something good for the kingdom, and they fucking lost.
And like had to retreat. Like it was like bad. Like they
It
had to
wasn't
just
like a
like
little
completely
bitty,
abort mission.
right? Yeah.
It was it was bad.
really
I
sad.
hated that too. I just felt like there was so much buildup, and then it's like, nope.
Oh, and it was
Sorry,
yeah,
you
it
gotta
wasn't
come
like
back.
it wasn't like a slow loss. Like they were like, no, we got to turn around. Like it's bad. Hated that.
Totally. Yeah. No. That was brutal. My least favorite scene is where we find out that Septimus is the bad guy. Like I'm telling you, I'm fixated on this part of the story. Like it literally gave me a pit in my stomach.
Oh, same. I for the first time in my life got somehow ahead of Katie on this book. And it's because I was at your house and I was at the birthday party, and then leaving we had a 2-hour drive and you had to clean your house. So I had 2 hours.
Right.
And she was like, "How's the book going?" And I was like, "Literally not good." Like I just got to something that's so vile and disgusting, and you're gonna hate it. And it was that Septimus is just like
Yeah.
the villain.
It just anyway, I'm
It's sad.
not pressed about it because I just feel like he's got his redemption is coming. I'm holding out hope for, him to be the main character of the Bloodborne duology. We will see, but yeah, I literally hated that.
Hated. Okay. So what's something about the plot or like the book overall that you would change or that you just like really didn't like? Besides, there she is.
Okay, yeah. So there she is was on my list.
Mine too.
But we've already talked about
we got
that.
out of the way. Hashed it out.
But also my issue with this book was writing related, and it bothers me to say that because she's so excellent, but I hate when I'm reading a quote and they stop the quote in the middle and say like he said, like I went, he said, to the ends of the earth for you. I hate that. And
Oh my God, she has
did
it so much.
So much, and I literally hate that. Like,
And you told me
there was
about
that.
it. Did you say on the last podcast or you told me about it? And I was like, oh, I haven't really noticed
told
that. No, it was blatantly obvious.
I hated it. And there were also times where, and you pointed this out to me, it's like people talking and she goes down to the next line and I couldn't figure out who was talking because there were multiple instances where the same person would say a line and then go down to the next line.
She would like enter down for their next paragraph, quote unquote, but it would still be indented. And like, but that's just like the self-publishing of it all. Like I'll take that because maybe it happened like 4 times where I was like, who?
Yeah.
I'll take that for her to stay self-published and make all the money herself. But
Totally.
it just like that bothered me for sure. My other complaint was also writing / like dictation related. Okay, there's 2 things. The first thing is she says that instead of the a lot, like that cup, or like I'm gonna go. I'm really going after that shirt. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like instead of just the, like how if we're doing like an online class, like yoga or Pilates, they're like, yeah, stretch that quad. That's kind of how it sounded. like I don't. It was like all the time she was saying that. Which you didn't really have to
notice that.
Oh, it was so bothersome. Okay, that's that. So the next thing is the fucking half sentences.
Ashlyn.
Literally. So when I was reading the first book and the novella, when it's a character's like stream of consciousness, I enjoy it. I enjoy like little snippets, half sentences, just singular words with a period, like it's stream of
Yep.
consciousness. When they're speaking and there's not a subject of the sentence,
Oh my God. It
we
was
need to
so
reevaluate.
bad. And initially, it was just Rain, but then Araya started doing it
Yep.
too. It was bothering me. Like, this doesn't need to be quirky. Like, for real, just say
No.
the sentence.
No, and I feel like that's a lot of her stuff is like to be quirky. Oh,
Yeah.
did you notice she started saying or no like Sarah J? Like she said it like 3 or 4 times in this book. Um, like whatever or no.
No, I
Not
didn't notice that.
nearly as much as Miss Girl, but she still said it. So there's like a couple like things like that because like I only encounter shit like this in fantasy where there's like these little
Yeah.
things they keep doing because like whenever I read like my normal romance books or like the murder books I was reading, there's not really those like weird patterns that keep on happening that like if you like it you like it and if you
Yeah.
don't you just really fucking don't. So like that's my only critique, just like be better.
I completely agree. It was similar to like in Throne of Glass, and Sarah J. Maas continues to use exclamation points. Thank God she cut that shit out because it
It
was
was every
jarring.
sentence. It was every sentence.
It was yeah. Thank God she stopped.
Yeah, genuinely.
Carissa, take note. Please, no more cut off sentences.
But we love you.
Okay. Yeah, we do. Okay, do you have any hot takes?
I don't think I have any hot takes left, except you do yours. I'll keep thinking. I should have come up with
Okay.
one just
So
specifically for
my
this.
my probably hot take, which was also a hot take the last time we talked about this series, but I'm just like I don't love that Misha is the going to be the next female main character.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to give it a chance, and I'm fully like sitting here today. I want everyone to hear me say I'm okay if I have to eat these words. If I end up liking her better than Araya, like you never know what can happen. And Carissa's such like a great author. I have no doubt that she will write a really good story, but I'm just not excited about it. And also probably because like I want to read the Bloodborne story next. So like
Yes.
this is like interfering with that.
Yeah. I think my hot take is like having Nyaxia involved at all. Like, I just don't like that Araya and Rain had to like involve anyone else in taking over. This is the same way I felt about Araya like winning the Kajari. Like,
Yeah.
I want it to be in their own right that they like conquer this kingdom and they're both alive and they're both happy and they're both doing what they want to do.
Gotcha.
No, they're indebted to Acacia and they're just waiting around for Nyaxia to like pull the trigger. So I hate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I totally can see that. Naxia, like I really hope that like the overarching theme here is everyone wants to kill Nyaxia. That's like what I'm actually hoping for.
But who
So
can? Like another god? Like how does that even happen?
hopefully Acacia knows. Maybe she'll tell us.
Now you're on to something there. Okay.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Okay. Last part is our overall thoughts and rating. So I am giving this book, unfortunately, 4.5 stars, which is a really good rating, but like the writing stuff was like too big of a burden to me personally. And what I think is most disappointing is that I did not have these issues the first time around. So like these
Yeah.
are new,
Yeah.
they're new problems. But I mean like the book is literally like to me the story is so perfect, and this is the closest thing to ACOTAR that I have read. Like, it really is just so good. And then for chili peppers, I decided to go with 3.5 chili peppers. There was more spice in this book than the last one. And honestly, like, it was really, really good. I don't have anything like bad to say about it. In my perspective, like the scene in the cave in the hot spring and then the scene in the tent were like really they were really sweet, and it felt more like romantic and like intimate in like a just a really sweet sense rather than just like sexual entirely.
Right.
Like,
I totally agree.
it felt like more like romance than it did like sex. And so
Yep.
like 3.5 chili peppers, I feel really good about that.
Okay, good. I'm happy you feel good about your ratings. I also gave her a 4.5. I wasn't really like dying to give it 5 though. Like, I'm just like not obsessed with giving everyone 5. I do love giving a 4 or a 4.5. But to me, they spent like too much time in the beginning, like deciding whether or not they even fucking liked each other, and I hated that. But
Yeah.
besides that, I liked the story a lot. I feel the same way as you. Like, I am going to be so depressed until the next one comes out. And so I'm just really happy that we're rereading, or you're reading and I'm rereading From Blood and Ash, and gonna try to reread ACOTAR and Crescent City before January. So
Yep.
we'll at least have filler content. For the chili peppers, I was thinking 3, but I really liked at the beginning. This is like kind of why I did a bit get excited about enemies to lovers, is they kept having those like little tiffs where they were like, it was like building up to where they might kiss or something. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
But of course it never came to fruition until they were happy with each other. And like,
Right.
I want to say that I was right on the last podcast. Okay. Mark it in history that
Okay.
his dick was in her mouth. They were having makeup sex when she told him to beg.
You
Yeah.
said it.
So
You knew.
I
You
did
knew.
know.
Oh my
I knew.
God.
And I could not have been more fulfilled by that scene. Not because I was right, but because the scene was so good. You could tell he was ready to like lay it all on the line. Loved it. Carissa really just
Totally.
like continues to outdo herself over and over again. So yeah, I also feel very good about those ratings as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we both agree overall. Like, it's just chef's kiss. Like, she really can
Chef's
do no
kiss.
wrong.
No.
And we
So
will
what
be
are we gonna do?
recommending this series.
Oh yeah, 1,000 times over. I'm also gonna read The Vampire Conqueror. Maybe I can like speed and get it done before we do the May wrap up, so that I can have like at least a little
Yeah.
tidbit to give you guys by then.
Yes.
But our next book, so we know that we just did The King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair, so we're going to follow that up with the second of that series called Queen of Myth and Monsters by Scarlett St. Clair as well. And we're going to drop this episode on June 20th. So you should have plenty of time to grab it. Now, she's not self-published, so it is at Barnes & Noble. I saw it last time I was there. And I'm excited because I first read the first book like over a year ago. So I have no idea like why I haven't read the second one yet. So now I'm like pumped.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Because we
I
get
know.
to
I'm
have it,
excited
like,
too
the
because you
same-
haven't read it either.
Yeah, we'll have like the same
Yeah,
experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and I did see that there is going to be a third book in the series, and I think it's like
nice.
a pretty good ways out.
Okay.
I saved a post that said like the exact date that it was, but I think it's like still like a pretty decent
Okay.
ways away. Okay, yeah, it's King of Spirit and Shadow. And there's no like comments on it or anything. So yeah, no date or anything for
Okay.
that, but there will be a third.
Okay. Is the cover art out? Is that what it was?
It
Okay.
was just like just the
Fine.
name.
Okay, we'll take it. Okay, so hopefully it'll come out like in spring though, so that we have time to like read all this other shit that we have planned.
Oh my
But yeah.
god, totally.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so
right.
much for tuning into the club, the book club podcast that won't put you to sleep, hopefully. We're so excited to have this podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, anywhere else you find your podcast, and on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And we are always open to feedback at theclubgirlies@gmail.com or on Instagram through our DMs at Girlies of the Club. You can send us feedback. You can send us ideas for what we should post, or what books you want us to read. We're always open to that, and Katie has plenty of time to read extra books between the books of the month. So with that, I just want to thank you guys again so much for tuning in.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.